Welcome to the American Dream in the Eyes of Immigrants podcast. I am your host, Heidy De La Cruz, and I am on the mission to change the narrative of immigration, one immigrant story at a time. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the American Dream in the Eyes of Immigrants podcast. I am your host, Heidy De La Cruz, and today I have Doctora Janice with us, and she's going to be talking about her upbringing and growing up with immigrant Peruvian parents, and then her journey of becoming Doctora Janice. So thank you so much for coming on and saying yes to being a guest on the show. And yes, I'm so excited to get into your story. Like I said before we started recording, I've been following you and digging into your work and what you do. And I'm just so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really excited to be here too. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so let's do a little introduction, who you are, what you do, and then we can get right into your childhood.
Yeah, so I'm Dr. Janice Castro. I'm a licensed psychologist, speaker, and podcast host, and the founder of JC Psychological Services. And I am dedicating my passions a lot through my career. I specialize in adult ADHD. And I can share a little more about that once we talk about my graduate journey. But outside of my career and those different hats that I wear, I am also a daughter, a sister, a friend, and I am a lover of dancing and
Oh,
music and hikes and beach. So that's a little bit about me.
oh my goodness. Where are you located right now?
I am in Los Angeles.
Oh, in Los Angeles. Okay, yeah. So tell us about were both of your parents immigrants or was it just your mom?
It was both. It was
Both.
both.
Okay.
Yeah, so they both immigrated from Peru, I wanna say it was, like, the late 1980s,
Okay.
and they had immigrated to Maryland, and so
Wow.
yeah, so I'm originally from the East Coast, and that's where I was born and raised, and both of my parents did come to the US different journeys.
Okay.
So my dad had come on his own with a visa, and that expired. My mom had crossed the border, and so she was undocumented from the moment that she arrived. Throughout the years, it started to become more strict in terms of passage to the
Mhm.
U.S. And my dad ended up getting deported when I was a teenager. So when I was about
Wow.
13, and my mom was able to thankfully get her citizenship. And I want to say like that was definitely a pivotal moment for me, like when my dad got deported, because that's where I recognized the privilege of being a US born citizen.
Mm,
And like no child should have to be exploring that kind of privilege at
mm,
13, but
yeah.
I was. And I know a lot of children of immigrants do. And so yeah, that's a little bit about my backstory in terms of my parents and their immigration story. And I was born in a Peruvian household, so there was a lot of influence of Peruvian culture when it comes to the food, the music, the jokes, like humor, a lot of very rich cultural experiences that have really defined who I am today
Mm,
and have made me really embrace my identity as a bicultural, bilingual Latina.
yeah. Oh, I love that. And your dad is still back in Peru?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
still back in Peru, yeah.
And have you been able to visit?
I have. So, actually, I was just out in Peru.
Hey, okay.
Yeah, I was so excited. So, back in June, I went for, a week, and I
Wow.
was really excited because, it was a very special trip for a few reasons.
Mm,
One of them was because in in Peru, we have Machu Picchu, which is in the city of Cusco, which is one of the wonders of the world. And
Mm,
I had never been before to Machu Picchu, so I was really excited to check it out, but especially because I was gonna go with my family, and, my mom's birthday is in June.
mhm.
It's on June 24th, which in Peru is also considered Indigenous Day. And
Oh.
so, yeah, so anytime it's her birthday, it's like, wishing her also happy Indigenous Day. And so we decided to go during that week of her birthday.
Oh, beautiful.
And, one of the memories that stands out to me the most, aside from, of course, being in Machu Picchu and, like, just being around that, like, nature and the
Mhm,
mountains, is one of the, celebrations that they have in Cusco is called Inti Raymi,
mm.
which is the celebration of Indigenous Day, and it's a whole day event from morning till, late afternoon where they will dress up in a lot of, like, the traditional Incan, like, wear, their
Mhm.
hair, everything about, what it means to be an indigenous person in Peru from the Incan history,
Wow.
and, they have, like, a ceremony where they mimic what it used to be like, and they will honor Mother Nature, which in Quechua, which is the Incan language, like the indigenous language in Peru, Mother Nature is Pachamama. And so they are just honoring Pachamama, honoring the sun, the moon, the soil, everything around us in terms of nature is also very spiritual.
It
And
sounds very, yeah.
yeah, it was so beautiful. It really had me in touch with my roots and just understanding that spiritual side.
Oh my god, I got chills. I am so happy that you were able to experience that. That is amazing.
Yeah, it was so cool.
Wow. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad. So I'm glad, yeah, so that wasn't the first time you had visited, as you mentioned that you had visited before. And
Mhm.
tell us, do you remember like the experience like the first time you visit Peru?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure. Because it's so eye-opening.
Mm.
I
Mm-hmm.
remember, I was still a teenager, and when I went, it was definitely a culture shock
Mm-hmm.
because the moment I remember I still joke with my mom about this, the moment I got to the airport in Lima, which I believe is like the Jorge Chavez Airport, you will see a lot of people with, signs that will
Mm.
have names on it,
Mm-hmm.
and that's to, like, signal to the people who are getting out of the airport, like, "The ride is
Mm-hmm.
here." And, like, you'll see people with, like, flowers and balloons,
Oh.
and I was so young that in my head, I was like, "Is the president coming? Like, why are all
Yeah.
these people cheering?" And
Oh,
then,
that's
my
funny.
mom helped me understand, like, "No, it's not the president. People are just excited to see their family." I was like, "Oh,
Aw.
that makes sense." And then just, it was definitely a culture shock also in terms of how humbling it was
Mm.
to understand the privileges and the access to resources and opportunities that I have in the US
Mhm.
that look very different depending on what parts of Peru you are in,
Yeah.
because Peru has so many different areas, some that are more rural, in geographically, like, there's also the side where it's, like, you're near the Amazon,
Oh,
so, like, more like rainforest. My family is from the city of Lima,
okay.
so I've mainly only been to Lima before. But yeah, it really shocked me just to see how a developing country looks like in comparison to the
Yeah.
US.
Yeah, my mom I used to spend the summers with my mom here in Florida because I grew up in Michigan, and she had 2 friends who were sisters who were from Peru, and my mom got the chance to go to Lima with them. I don't remember how long ago that was, but I was like, "That's so cool that she got to experience that," and she said it was so beautiful, and she really loved it, going out there. So then, like, since my mom went, I was like, "Okay, like, now I wanna go because she made it sound so beautiful and so much fun, so
Yeah, and the
definitely on my bucket
food.
list. Oh, girl, ceviche is my favorite. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
yes.
me too, me
Oh
too.
my gosh, we have this really good Peruvian, restaurant here in Central Florida that has won awards from it being so good. But then I saw online from this influencer another Peruvian restaurant that she like is like hands down this is the best in her land. I'm like, okay, now I gotta go try that one because I love ceviche. I love
Yeah.
Peruvian food, and so yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I've been to Florida before. I went to Miami when I was younger, and yeah, there's a lot of Peruvian restaurants out
In
there.
Miami, yep.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more Peruvian restaurants I've noticed on the East Coast.
Yeah. So now that you mentioned Miami, that's actually where I would spend my summers with my mom, and
Okay,
she
yeah.
would also like, well, her friend used to cook ceviche for us because she could, but then there
Mm.
was also I can't remember the name, but there was a Peruvian restaurant that my mom used to always take me that we used to eat jalea
Oh
all the time.
yes.
Yes. So
Oh,
now
halal is
you're making
so
me
good.
hungry.
I know. I'm like, did I eat lunch yet? And I did.
Oh my god, yes. But no, I would definitely love to, like, obviously eat in Peru because, it's
Yeah.
not the same as here, but, oh, I love that experience that you were able to go and experience that and everything. Oh my goodness. So from Maryland, did you guys have, like, a Peruvian community, or were you guys mainly the only Peruvians? How was that for you?
Yeah, that's a really good question because I had wondered why there were so many Peruvians in Maryland.
Oh,
I was like, I
that's
grew up
funny.
around Peruvians and like
Wow.
in like Maryland, I would say it's pretty diverse in terms of the types of Latin American immigrants. There
Okay.
are like a lot of Central Americans and South Americans. So I've met other people, right? Like
Mhm, mhm.
Salvadorians, Guatemalans, and across other Latin American countries. But I definitely did not have any issues meeting Peruvians. They were in
Wow.
my schools, they were at family parties, they were at the restaurant owners, like they were there, they
Wow.
were present. And I asked my mom, like, I was like, how
Yeah.
did you get connected? And honestly, I think that immigration journey is all about connection and like
Mhm.
who you know,
Yep.
because the way that the at least the way that I understood it was my dad came because he knew of a friend who had a job in Maryland. And so then my dad came, shortly my mom came, and then my mom's sister comes, and then my
Yep.
my
Yep.
cousin comes. So it's just like you
Yes.
keep pulling each other from your community, from your neighborhood or your barrio,
Mhm.
and you're connecting each other also with jobs, and you're
Yes.
teaching each other, how do you navigate this new world? How do
Mhm.
you level up? And so, yeah, I think definitely I had the opportunity to be around other Peruvians that were not my family.
Yeah, that is exactly what happened to my dad. He immigrated to New York first because that's usually where the Dominicans go first.
Mhm.
And but then I grew up in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and then when I tell people that and they know that I'm Dominican, they're like, "Grand Rapids, like there's Dominicans." There's like there's a lot of Dominicans there, but I think it's like the same thing as you said. It's just like they know of someone, and so they end up there, and then they bring their family and slowly like that. So that's exactly what happened to my dad. He was in New York for like 3 months that when I was born, and then he had a friend who lived in Grand Rapids, and there was, a lot of factory jobs back in the 90s. And
Yeah.
so his friend was like, "Yeah, come." And so but then like my dad's family, then my grandma moved and his siblings and stuff. And so it was just like slowly they immigrated as well. And then now we're all in Florida. So like slowly we immigrated from Michigan to Florida. So like now we're all here. But it's the same thing. It's like if you know of someone, that's how you probably end up in whatever state it is that, people end up, staying at.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
Bring the whole neighborhood over.
Yeah, exactly, the whole barrio, like you said. Oh my
Uh-huh.
god which is actually funny because they're some of my dad's friends that, growing up, like, they were actually from the neighborhood that he grew up in, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, how did you guys all end up, like, in the same another same neighborhood?" But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So let's get into your journey of becoming a psychologist, and how did you always know that you wanted to be? Like, how did that come about?
Yeah, that's a really great question. For me, I didn't know what I wanted to do
Mm,
up until maybe I think it was my junior year of high school.
okay.
Is when I started taking school seriously. Not to say that I was like a
Girl,
bad
same.
student,
Same. Same.
because that's when they have you. The high school had me meet with my
Yes.
school counselor, and I was like, "Oh, I
And you
have
gotta
to
take
meet
the
with."
testing, and then you gotta figure out what college, and we're like, "What?" Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So, I felt very grateful that at my school there was this like I can't remember the name of it. I think it was like some kind of program. It was the Hispanic Foundation. I forget, but it was a program that my counselor just gave me a letter and was like, "You have an opportunity to go to this weekend trip." And it's on a college campus.
Oh,
At the
wow.
time, I think it was at Towson University out in Maryland. And it's to help expose you to college and understanding careers.
Mm.
And to me, I was like, oh, it's just a weekend to get away and be with my friends.
Yeah.
So why not?
Yeah.
And no, I got so much more out of it. I
Mm.
learned what is the SAT, how
Mhm.
you're supposed to study for it, um, thinking about applying to FAFSA, and I was
Mm.
like, "I don't know what FAFSA is, but
Mhm.
okay, we're gonna do that." So I started during that weekend. It was really empowering because we had little groups of familias, and each
Yeah.
familia had a mentor. And that mentor was a college student who was volunteering for that weekend. So we
Mm.
got exposed to also other Latina college students, people who look like us who were in
Wow.
college. So to me, that was also very helpful because it does, like research shows, when you see somebody in a position that you would want to be in, it actually gives you the hope, and you can visualize yourself going in that direction.
Yeah.
And so I met somebody who went to the University of Maryland out in College Park, and she was like, "Oh, that's where I go to school." And I was like, "That's cool. That's where I'm gonna apply then." Because I was like, she
Yeah.
seems cool. Like, there's more Latino students there. And so then junior year, I started taking AP classes, and because I was
Oh.
trying to like level up my GPA because it
Yeah.
wasn't too hot.
Girl, yes, same.
And I heard that AP psychology was an easy class. So I was like,
Oh.
okay, we're gonna get the easy A, boost that GPA. And I really liked it. I realized I was like, I do like learning about human behavior.
Yes.
And one of the things that I would talk to some of my friends when I was still trying to figure out what to do with my career was like, well, you should be a teacher, you should be a counselor, you're a great listener, you're good with kids, like you're really helpful. So then that kind of just led me to gravitate towards counseling. So I was like,
Mm.
either I do counseling or I become a teacher, one of the two. And then I decided to go to the University of Maryland, and thankfully, I did get in, and I say thankfully because I barely made it. Like, they
Yeah.
put me in a
Yeah.
program, um, it was called the Academic Achievement Program, so it is, one of those federal funded programs that help, first generation college students, low income students, who come from disadvantaged backgrounds to be able to get to college. And, yeah, so I went through the program, they provided a lot of support, and one of underneath that umbrella of programs was the Ronald E. McNair program. And at the time that I was going to college, I was like, "Okay, I think I'm gonna just stick to psychology because I was like, I like the classes."
Yeah.
But then, as a first generation college student, I was like, bachelor's degree is already a big deal. Like, I wasn't thinking grad school, but
Yeah.
then, I was in school during the recession, like in '08, 2012 time,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, where the program was telling us, like, stay in school, like,
Mm.
getting jobs is really hard. And I quickly realized a bachelor's degree in psychology isn't gonna give me a lot of
No.
opportunities.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew I could probably do, like, some research assistance jobs, but, like,
Mhm.
the pay would be low. So then I was like, "Okay, apparently you have to go to grad school to get your license so you can actually provide therapy
Yep.
services."
Mhm.
So I joined, or I applied, and I got, accepted into the Ronald E. McNair program, which then taught me what the steps are to get into grad school for
Wow.
a PhD in psychology. To be honest, I was not trying to go PhD route. I was like, "Imma just do it, tell them 'em I'm doing PhD, but really I'm just gonna get my master's," because 2 years seemed doable.
Mhm. Mhm.
But no, I got accepted into a PhD program, and then my
Hey.
mentor was like, "They have more funding than they do at a master's level." And I was like,
Wow.
like, I had some resistance. I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, there's money," and then because I grew up low income, I was like, "Well, yeah, how am I gonna pay for this?"
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say a lot of that helped me understand this was the path that was going to help me succeed, have
Yeah.
opportunities. And when I decided PhD, you really have to hone in on, like, okay, you're doing psychology, but that's so broad. What
Mhm.
exactly do you want to specialize in? And
Yeah.
at the time, when I was taking my psychology classes in undergrad, there was a lot of classes where when they talked about ethnic and racial minorities, it was limited
Mm.
research, and that really fueled fire in me, to be like, "No, like, we definitely need the
Mhm.
support and the help, especially within the Latina community," and as a bilingual, bicultural Latina, I wanted to be able to help with that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So many similarities because I remember in high school too, like, I didn't really care up
Yeah.
until, like, my junior, senior year when everybody's, like,
Mhm.
applying to college, and I'm like, "Ooh, I guess I should have been paying more
I
attention."
know. I was like, it was all the students around me talking about
Yeah.
college. I
I
was
was like,
like,
"Oh, you're going there?
"Ooh,
You're
I
applying
guess
there?"
I gotta go."
Yes, I guess I gotta go. Yeah, because I had no idea what I wanted to do, and also, like, I was honestly, like, into a lot of sports, so I just kept my
Mm.
grades so I could qualify to play sports. That was
Yeah.
literally just my focus, but then, like, there was a program also that they put me in, it was called TRIO.
Oh,
It was
okay.
from one of the universities, and they would come, and it was like a group of us, and they would like tell us like the resources that were out there about like how to apply to scholarships and things like that to like educate us on the college route. But honestly, like again, since I didn't know what I wanted to do, like I didn't know like what college I wanted to go to or anything like that. So I ended up just going to a community college for like the first 2 years
Mm,
until like I could actually like decide what I wanted to do. But I do remember always being interested in psychology. So I
mm,
did get my bachelor's degree in psychology and healthcare administration because then by then I was already in the medical field when I transferred over to a 4-year university. But then same thing, I found out that like, okay, in order to go the psychology route, you actually need a master's or even more.
yeah.
And then to like do the clinicals at the time I couldn't because I was a single mom. So I was
Mm,
like, I can't do the clinicals. I need to work and provide for my daughter. So I ended up getting a master's degree in healthcare administration. But it's like sometimes I get the itching enough to like go back to school and actually like pursue the psychology route of things because, now I'm married, I'm more stable and things like that. So then like I could actually go back to school and then get into counseling because I still love psychology. Like I still love,
yeah.
the human behavior and mental health and figuring out like why do people do certain things or and things like that. And then even my own therapy journey has, like, really opened up my eyes to, like, how much our childhood, like, really affects our upbringing or
Mm.
our adult life, the
Oh, yeah.
relationships, how we act, react, and things like that.
Mm.
So yeah, so tell us about your graduate program because you took a pivot. So, yeah,
Yeah,
tell
yeah,
us about
yeah.
that.
I'll share a little bit about that. So yeah, I think when I got into grad school, I was nervous for a few different reasons. As a first generation college graduate, as somebody who doesn't come from generational wealth, and navigating predominantly white institutions as a Latina, I felt like I had to work really hard. I felt like I had to prove myself.
Mm, mm.
And I recognized that throughout my undergrad, like, it was a predominantly white institution, so going to another predominantly white institution for grad school I was like, "Well, I've been around white people, I can do it again." Um, and it is definitely like you're on survival mode when you're in grad school because
Yeah.
they have a lot of work, a lot of classes, graduate assistantship, clinical training hours, so you're juggling a lot.
Mm,
And, I've burned out multiple times. I've struggled with my mental health
mm.
because I at the when I was in grad school, I didn't know about boundaries, which is
Oh.
very, like, it's very ironic, right? That I am in a counseling program to train me to be a therapist, and I
Mhm.
don't know about boundaries.
Yeah.
And I also struggled with advocating for myself. And I think a
Mm.
lot of that stems from being a daughter of immigrants who were undocumented, the fears that come with speaking up.
Yep.
And so all of the and then I struggled a lot with imposter phenomenon, feeling like I had to know everything because if I don't, then they're gonna realize I'm not good
Mm.
enough. Especially because, for the first few years, I was the only Latina in my program, and so I had experienced a lot of pressure, a lot of code switching,
Oh, wow, yeah.
and so it impacted my mental health a lot, especially because I had moved away, from family to pursue grad school, and so, I can recall also just feeling, like, I had to adjust my timeline. I already accepted that I wasn't gonna graduate with my cohort, at the same time, and I was okay with that because I recognized, like, I'm on a different journey than they are. Like,
Wow.
we come from different backgrounds, we have different privileges, and, it felt very lonely. I just remember navigating grad school feeling like lonely Latina was just stamped on my forehead.
Wow.
I did create some community, which was really helpful. I had founded the Latino Latina Grad Student Association on campus because I was like, "There's gotta be other Latinos on
Yeah.
out here," and there was a few of
Yeah.
us.
Okay, okay.
And so towards the end of my program, there is a clinical internship you have to do, and it's full time, 1 year, and then you can graduate, as long as, like, your dissertation is done too, but it's basically after you finish all your classes, and I remember at the time, at least when I was applying, it was very common that people did not match for an internship because it's an algorithm where like
Wow.
they match you. If you apply, they rank you, you rank them, and you see if you get one. If you don't, you have to reapply in the fall, interview in the spring, and then start the following year. So
Wow.
nobody wants to wait a whole year
Yeah.
just to reapply for to do an internship. So you really wanted to match. And how are you going to match is if you expand your options. So I expanded my options. I applied to the East Coast, West Coast, down South. I was like, I need to match because at the
Anywhere.
time there wasn't a lot of internships. There was always people who wouldn't there wasn't enough spots.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, I'm looking for diversity because I love white people. They're cool. I know white people, but also I love my people. And I like to
Of
be in a space where
course.
I feel accepted and I don't have
Yeah.
to like mask. And I also cared a lot about the training. To me, going to a site where the training was going to help me with my clinical skills and really sharpen them before I graduate was super important. So that's why I was like, I'm open to going anywhere really, as long as
Yeah.
it's a city that meets those I guess standards for me.
Yeah.
And I got into an internship, so I was so grateful. But I quickly started to burn out.
Wow.
The internship that I was at was really tough because in reflecting back on it, I did not have a supportive, supervisor. It was really challenging when your supervisor is burned out and can't support you the way that they need to. And like I mentioned, I've had a hard time advocating for myself.
Mhm.
And so I would just put my head down. I'd be like, I'm gonna just do the work. I'm gonna just do what she's asking me to do and just keep it moving. I'm not gonna complain. I just need to finish this internship so I can
Don't
graduate.
complain.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And, it started to turn into, "Oh, actually, we're concerned that you're not gonna graduate from this internship because we're concerned about your training and the level that you're at." And that was really hard for me because while I recognized, I was a student and I was there to learn and to improve my skills, I didn't think that that was the full picture.
Yeah.
And so I advocated for myself, but it was so challenging because even after I did, I was already so anxious and I was really, really burned out. So for me to continue, it started to affect my mental health. And so I ended up, withdrawing from the internship, and it was really hard because it's a 12-month internship, and
Oof.
I left at month 10, so I only had 2 more months left. But I withdrew, I recognized that I was not getting the support that I needed, that I deserved, and I felt really empowered because I
Yeah.
was reaching out to my mentors, like, people who are on the other side who are already like training directors and stuff, who are already licensed psychologists, like who
Yeah.
I trusted,
Yeah.
they were like, yeah, no, like it's not just you. And so I felt very confident in my decision to withdraw because I was like, this isn't going to get any better. So
Mhm.
I withdrew, and it was a really tough process because, like I mentioned, that meant having to reapply in the fall. But this time when I
Oh,
reapply, I got
yes.
to explain why I withdrew, and then I interview in the
Oh.
spring, and then I get placed the following fall
So
to
that's why
match
it
with the
took 2
internship.
years from
Mhm.
when you withdrew. Oh, that makes sense. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So that was tough. Thankfully, I was able to, because of my network and the connections that I have, I was able to get a clinical, like practicum site during that year that I was reapplying. And I started bartending because I needed to make ends meet. The
Mhm.
internship pays you, they pay you minimum wage, but they still pay you. And you do get access to loans still because you're a student. But when I withdrew, it was really hard that summer because I was like, okay, like, do I move back home? Do I
Wow.
stay here in
Wait, where
California?
oh, you were in California. I was about to ask, wait, where were
Mhm.
you?
Yeah, I had come out to California for internship because I was
Okay.
like, it's diverse area. The clinical site seemed to meet my expectations for the training that I wanted. So I was
Yeah.
like, what's 1 year in sunny California? Why not?
Is that so that's why you stayed? Or is that why you stayed in California?
Yeah, so I'm
Okay.
paying the sun tax, girl. I love it out here. I told you I love being at the beach. I love being
Yes.
outdoors, Mother Nature, Pachamama. I'm all about the sun. I love it. It's great.
I've only heard good things about California. Like, people who live there or have moved there
Mm,
have said that they just love the vibe of California, and I remember I had interviewed this guest, she, had moved from Germany,
mm,
and she had no interest of visiting the United States or moving to the United States at all, and then, her then boyfriend was like, "Well, let's visit California," and she was like, "Oh, okay, alright," but she wasn't really expecting anything of it, and she fell in love. She said, "As soon as I got to California, I fell in love," and then, like, she wanted to move, and, I mean, now she lives here in Florida, but I'm just like, I've only heard good things about people who move or live in California. Now I need to go visit out there.
yeah, you should. And you can come visit me and we could
Yeah.
go to the beach, go for a hike.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Okay, so finish the internship in California. You were able to stay there, and so tell us about building your practice and your brand and what you're doing today.
Yeah. So I will say that experience that got me burned out at the internship and just not getting the support that I needed was really eye opening for me because it also helped me realize how much of my self worth was intertwined with my career,
Oh.
which made sense because I had never not been in school. School was my whole life since like kindergarten.
Oh,
So
yeah, yeah, that's a lot of years of school, yeah, you're right.
yeah. So it definitely helped me untangle that. It helped me understand the importance of advocating for myself and also recognizing that there are certain systems um in this society that are not built for people like me as a bicultural, bilingual Latina and first generation college graduate. And so in my work, one of towards the end of my clinical training, we have to do like a postdoctoral fellowship, and I started to learn about ADHD,
Mhm.
and it was something that I hadn't specialized in before, but I thought, well, if I'm gonna get specialized training, I might as well do it in something that I don't know much about. Because to me,
Mm,
I love to learn.
yeah.
And I realized that in specializing with ADHD during that training, while I don't have ADHD, I recognized that I really empathized with my clients, and it was because I the experience of feeling like an outsider in
Mm,
systems that aren't built for you had really resonated with me.
yeah.
And when I started learning about ADHD and neurodiversity, I recognize like this is a bigger movement than me. Like, this is a movement towards equity and liberation and valuing different kinds of minds. And
Yes.
so when I think about being able to do this work, that's what motivates me, is to be able to hopefully help clients in individual therapy to get tools and strategies on how to navigate ADHD in a neurotypical world. But then also being able to give workshops and speaking engagements to companies and organizations so that they can be more culturally affirming for neurodivergent
Yes.
folks, and to be able to help them not just have their neurodivergent employees and staff survive, but to thrive and to be
Mm,
themselves.
yeah, I love that. Oh my goodness, and when did you start your podcast?
Oh, I started that in November of 2024, so last year.
Nice, and how has that been going? Because you do solo episodes and then you interview as well, so how's that
Yeah.
going?
It's been going really well. Thank you so much for asking. So
Yeah.
yes, aside from my therapy hat, my speaker hat, I decided to start a podcast because, PhD has always had me like, but what does the research say? Right?
Yeah.
So the research has shown that when it comes to mental health and the stigma with mental health, two things are really important. One of them is psychoeducation, talking about what we don't know and answering
Mm,
those questions. The other piece is being able to normalize and validate the experience of people with mental health conditions. So, when you think about people who have ADHD, it is a very big stigma still within our community when it comes to learning disabilities, because nobody wants to be othered. Nobody
nope.
wants to be an outcast or to be in that special ed class or being sent to detention multiple times. And, I think that having the podcast is an opportunity for me to do that, right? To be able to
Yeah.
serve my community by specializing in ADHD and Latina mental health. I share solo episodes where I can talk about tools and strategies for ADHD. And then my guests are people who've been diagnosed with ADHD, but specifically within the BIPOC community. Because one of
Mhm.
the things that I noticed when I was searching podcasts on ADHD is that it is a very white space. And I think that being able to amplify the voices of BIPOC folks, people of color who are coming from these marginalized communities where there is also stigma with mental health,
Mhm.
but also because often they get misdiagnosed or they get overlooked. with a ADHD diagnosis, which then leads to a lot of challenges in their education and in their careers. But my hope is that by bringing on these guests, that it can inspire others and to help them feel validated and less alone with the experience.
I love that, and your podcast is definitely needed. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like I've realized that lately there's been more people around me recently getting diagnosed with
Mm,
ADHD as adults, because like you
yeah.
said, it's been misdiagnosed or overlooked for so long. And so I'm so glad that you have that resource now there for people to listen to and be like, okay, like this is here. I have
Yeah.
that resource, and like there's nothing wrong with me or anything like that. That they are able to fully embrace and learn and know and understand more. So I love that. Um, where can people connect with you, and where can they listen to your podcast?
Yeah, definitely. So people can connect with me in a lot of different ways. I have my website, which is drjanicecastro.com, and you can find a lot of my offerings on there. I'm also on social media. So if you look me up on LinkedIn, Janice Castro, PhD, or on Instagram, I'm dr.janicecastro. And my podcast is Latine ADHD, so Latine ADHD. And yeah, those are the spaces where you can find me for sure.
I will include your links in the show notes and show description. And again, thank you so much for this conversation. And now, the
Yeah.
last question to wrap up
hmm
this amazing conversation is, what does the American dream mean to you?
That's such a powerful question. I think the American dream means to me the ability to be able to live life as I want, in ways that bring me joy, that allow me to feel like myself, and to not just survive, but to thrive and to be able to accomplish the things, the goals that I have, and be able to also make an impact in this world by helping others, especially with whatever knowledge or experience I have, because I believe that in being able to help others, we are also able to build a stronger community, that can feel more inclusive. So, yeah, to me, that is what the American dream is, and also being able to rest. Okay,
Oh,
because we have
yes.
not talked about rest, and I was like, I know I want to say that, and I didn't say it. So
Yes.
before I forget, the American dream is for people of color, marginalized communities to be able to
Please,
rest.
please rest. It's okay to rest.
Mm,
You need rest. It doesn't mean that you're lazy. It doesn't mean that you are not productive. Your
mm-mm.
body needs rest to be able
Yes,
to be productive, to be able to continue. But yes, that is
yes.
something that I'm learning too myself,
Mm, yeah, for
I got the
sure.
Aura ring earlier this year, and it tells you your energy levels. And so I've
Mm,
been able to like see it within myself, and it'll tell you like your recovery is low, so take it easy today. And so I've also had to like unlearn that like rest is not laziness. You need rest. Like it's okay. It's okay to rest. Like you need
yeah.
that. So thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. So it's a great reminder to our listeners.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. It is our divine right.
Yes, yes, it is. And rest is resistance, I want to say right now, because
Mhm.
this society right now has us like go, 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 and no, like rest.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yes. Yes, we do get to
Uh,
choose that.
yes. Oh, thank you so much for this conversation. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for creating this podcast to allow us to be able to share our stories.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you for listening to Mummy Podcast.